What's up, guys? So I'm pretty much done with the Ninja 250 project as far as getting it in a rideable state, and there's always going to be some things to do to it. So I hesitate to say done, but I mean it's basically there, and pretty happy about that. So I'm just going to nerd out about this bike in particular a little bit here, and go over kind of my history with this particular bike, and go over some of the things I did, pretty much the project I did, talk a little bit about the project, and have a look at it. So I guess we'll just start with this bike, as in the model of bike. So the Ninja 250, extremely common for a long time. You don't see them as much anymore, but for the longest time, you saw them everywhere. Everybody had one, everybody started on one. And in 2008, they came out with the newest model of the 250 Ninja, which had the updated, more modern sport bike appearance. But before that, the pre-gen, it was 88 to 07. The ones that look similar to this was the most common one that I'm sure everybody's seen. Well, this is the 86 to 87 model. This one is a 1986. That was the first generation. It's the E model. The other old ones, the newer old ones, are the F model that have the full fairing and a different tail section. There's a little bit more differences, which I'll get into. And the newest model 250 is the J model that looks totally different, like an actual sport bike like we think of today. But the 86, 87 E model, that's what this is. It's not missing a fairing. That's how they look. That's the style. There's no bottom chin or cowling. Tail section's a little more aggressive. The white 3-spoke wheels, that's what they had. So yeah, this is an 86, and they're pretty rare. And a Ninja 250, an old Ninja 250, the furthest thing from rare. But the 86, 87, the E model, it is pretty rare. Not that rare means valuable, it doesn't. I would never be able to make money off this bike, especially now. That wasn't the idea though. So just looking at the bike, some of the differences between the 86, 87 and the 88, 07. Let's just say the fairing, obviously, they have a different carburetor. The 88 to 07 have a 30 millimeter carburetor bore, CVK 30. The 86, 87 uses the CVK 32 millimeter bore. And this isn't the original carburetor. So interestingly, that's a Chinese clone. They sell those carburetors, like that one, for the 88 to 07 model. It says it's for the 88 to 07. But interestingly enough, it's a clone of the 32 millimeter. It's a clone of the CVK 32, so it's actually a clone of the carburetor for this bike that they are selling for the 88 to 07. It's a clone of the E model carburetor, but they sell it as a F model carburetor. So lucky me, direct bolt on, and it's worked pretty well. I did change the jets. I bought some actual jets separately to put it in the spec that this bike is supposed to be at. That worked flawlessly. The original carburetor I have, how many times I rebuilt it, cleaned it, tuned it, I could never get it right. So I think it's either damaged or warped, or there's some kind of just worn out passages or vacuum slides in it or something. I still have it, but for now, the clone's working. Another difference is the brakes. So the rear caliper is the same between the E and F, at least most models, as far as I know. This caliper is actually from an F model, because mine was really bad. So that was easy to obtain. The front is different also. Now that's where it gets a little more complicated. So on the F model bikes, the front brake is on the right side. Obviously on this one it's on the left side, so the mount's different. And these are nearly impossible to find. So I cleaned it, it leaked. I took it apart, I really, really cleaned it out carefully. Got a new rebuild kit, a different rebuild kit, rebuilt it again. Luckily it held pressure, and it actually works really well. So I got lucky on the front brake. The brake lines, I rebuilt both calipers, even the new one that I bought. I rebuilt it, rebuilt the front caliper, rebuilt both master cylinders, and replaced the lines with G-Brakes gold braided lines, which is one of the few things that they still make a part for this model. I got those brand new. They're really nice. They work good. I run G-Brakes on all my bikes. I'm happy with them. I'll shout them out. So that was the brakes, that's the difference. The engine internally is essentially the same as the E and F model, and similar to the J model. The J model is quite a bit different, but 86 to 07, essentially the same engine. There are some differences. For one, the cam profiles are actually different on the 86, 87, and these are the original cams, original engine. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can run the later cams, but these have, from what I understand, a slightly more aggressive profile. The engine, I did rebuild the engine. It was not locked up. When I opened it up for the first time, 3 of the valve rockers were broken. Luckily, no kissing pistons and valves. No evidence of that. All the valves were sealing, so I don't know exactly what happened. I replaced them. I think I talked about it in one of my earlier videos on this project. And I replaced the piston rings, cleaned the cylinder really well, had my friend just do a quick hone on it. Got a good seal on the piston rings, good compression, so rebuilt essentially the top end, but I didn't actually rebuild the valves, which might come back and bite me. I did adjust them. Everything was in spec. Another issue inside the engine was the timing chain guides were really chewed up, so I replaced them. The guides are from an E model motor, or an F model motor, so newer. They look slightly different, but it's basically the same, and they're cross compatible, they fit. So the chain itself was good, no broken teeth, nothing like that. There was some chewed up inside the actual case, like part of the case wall, but cleaned everything out, took care of all that. Other differences is the forks and the handlebars. So obviously the wheels are different. The rear shock is different. They are cross compatible, but this is the same shock that was on an EX500. I didn't replace that, it's still good. The forks are different, which that was a pain because my tubes and my stanchions were really pitted and rusted. There was barely any oil in there. Everything was rusty. I really didn't have an option but to try and replace them. So luckily, I'm gonna give a shout out to Forking by Frank. Frank's Forks, custom motorcycle fork manufacturer. I called them up. They had a card on these. They had the specifications specific to this bike. These forks, as far as all my research, and I did a lot, shows, are unique to this model of bike. Luckily, they had a card. Great guy. He cut me these tubes and sent them out. I think it was about a little under 400 shipped for a brand new set of stanchions. They fit perfectly. They're beautiful. They're high quality. So really got lucky on those. And yeah, the handlebars are different. The throttle tube that's in it is one of my unresolved issues. Stupidly, I didn't think it would be that hard to replace, so I removed it. I cut the grip off. It's supposed to be one piece grip and throttle tube, not interchangeable like most bikes now. I don't think I threw the tube away because I haven't really thrown away any parts. I make a point not to, just in case I need to go back and reference or try to fix something and use something, but I can't find it. So I used a Motion Pro, just generic Suzuki push-pull throttle tube. I had to modify it to fit in the housing, and it hangs a little bit. And I've got it about as close as I can get it with that tube, throttle adjusted. It is what it is. It hangs a little bit. Sometimes I have to manually close it. I can't get it adjusted right with that tube. I guess the geometry of it is just slightly off. So I have one modeled, 3D modeled. I'm gonna try to print some and try to see if I can replicate how it should be, but I'll get to that later. I can't think of any more differences right now, so I kind of already mentioned some of the damages I found and things I did, so let's continue that. I don't have the mirrors or the turn signals. These are aftermarket, obviously, that fit. It just is what it is, unobtainium. A lot of these parts are impossible to find. Luckily, I did have all the bodywork except the chin fairing, which I got off eBay for pretty good deal, so I was lucky there. The fairings were really damaged. These up front right here especially was all busted up. On the inside of these you can see where they've been fiberglassed over and over. Not by me, through the years. So most of it I left alone because it's pretty structurally sound repairs. Missing some tabs that I'm eventually gonna make new ones for, but I'm not that worried about it. The bodywork, so I actually broke the fender. It had a crack in it, snapped it. So I did fiberglass that. Well, I used the JB Weld Black. plastic bonder. Now, there's a couple of JB Weld plastic bonders, but I use the black one, which is for automotive body panels, as one of its categories, and it works really well. Bonded it and then fiberglassed under it before I repainted it. This fairing had a big crack in it, basically split in half. I fiberglassed it as well with some of that JB Weld. On the front, on the big fenders, I thought I was gonna have to fiberglass them, but when these had been repaired so badly, I don't know how long ago, several times it looked like. They were in multiple pieces underneath the fiberglass, and they had a metal plate riveted into the plastic to hold them in place. Fiberglass was peeling, the metal plate was terrible, and out here it was obviously that it was busted up, and it had been painted over with some kind of thick matte paint that basically made all the fairings like way thicker than they should be, but nothing I can really do about that. But I used the base layer of that JB Weld black plastic bonder, just expecting to have to sand it down and like fiberglass it, but it held so strongly and made such a solid piece out of it. I just used it. I sanded it down, and then I did use some body filler over the imperfections on the outside, but yeah, that stuff just basically plastic repair in a tube. Like, it fixed both sides. They were solid one piece now, strong. So yeah, replaced all the hardware for the fairings. Yeah, so the radiator is from a F model. The E model radiator I still have it. The fan had been cut, so I was gonna just move the fan from this F model, that radiator, to that one. But then I found the coolant temperature sensor fan switch on the radiator was a different size, and it's like impossible to find, whereas the F model one is compatible and you can get them all day. So I just swapped the whole radiator. Let's see, the carburetor intake boots to the airbox are different. I had one of them, I don't know where the other one went for the E model, so I did find one new old stock one and I bought it, but the old one was so shrunken and hard from years versus the new one that I couldn't get them to line up and attach and stay attached. So I used a set of used F model ones, which are a different design. So the E model one is just straight open tube. The F model one more form fits the carburetor, but they are apparently compatible with each other, so I just used the F model ones, and I'm gonna try and get another new old stock 86 model one if I can ever find one, but I've been looking for over a year and I can't find any more, so I might just have to have a clone made or something. It's another issue that's not really a big deal right now. It can get kicked down the road. The clutch basket was missing a tab, broken off, so I replaced it. And in the process of putting it on, I broke the clutch hub, so I had to replace it, and I put a new clutch back in. So the clutch is brand new, basket, hub, everything. New tires, obviously. Yeah, that's a lot. That's pretty much it. One of my pickup coils I either shorted out or wasn't working, so that was an ordeal. I had to buy a whole nother alternator cover, which I just swapped instead of trying to swap the pickup coils for the bike, and that resolved that. At first I tried to cut some EX500 ones because they're the same coil, but it only uses one. I think, don't quote me on that. Whatever the situation was, I don't recall, but I was trying to splice new pickup coils in and get the measurements right. I eventually just bought I found another alternator cover for this bike, just swapped the whole thing out and it works. The ignition coils are from an F model, so they're different, they don't mount up right. I have the original ones, but one of them is intermittent, but I just swapped a whole set of F model, later model coil packs on it, and it works, but they're held on by one bolt instead of two because they're different size, and these brackets are obviously for the larger one, but it works. I replaced the entire main body wire harness because over the years it had been cut at and damaged, and I found one from an 87, so 86, 87, same model, for pretty cheap on eBay, complete harness. So I just bought it, swapped the whole wire harness, good to go. Yeah, luckily I had all the seats and all the main plastics. Windshield, I have a windshield that I thought was the original, but looking at it closer, it looks like somebody made it, but it's really damaged and it's covered in paint, like it's just thick black spray paint. So I just cut that one out of acrylic. It's pretty crude, but it gets the job done, and I don't think it's too bad. I did find a seller for these levers on eBay. I think the levers are different. I don't think I don't think they're plug and play with later model ones, but these levers were sold 86, 87. So I picked those up, they fit, and they work great. What else? Of course, I've had the engine all the way down. I had the mating surface machined on the head, new gaskets, all the way through. Rebuilt motor, good to go. Rebuilt plastics, good to go. Rebuilt electrical system, good to go. Rebuilt suspension up front at least, and rebuilt brakes. So rebuilt coolant system, new water pump. New water pump, but mine was really corroded, and I was changing the gasket, and it just broke the cover. So I had to buy a whole new water pump. I put that in there. Could have just got another cover, but it's corroded. It was like $40. At this point, I'm so deep in the thing, throw a new water pump at it. A couple of these cooling fittings, that one specifically broke. I had to order that. My clutch perch was stripped out, so I ordered another one of those. It's the same one from an EX500 also. Just odds and ends, stuff like that, breaking parts, old parts, worn out parts, replacing. And the ones that it shares or are at least compatible with the later models, it's not a big deal. It's not hard to do. But of course, the things that are 86, 87 specific sometimes can be hard to find or impossible to find, as for some reason that air intake boot apparently is, and the brake caliper, the fork tubes. If I hadn't had Frank's, I don't know what I would have done. So stuff like that. Bodywork, forget about it. I found the chin fairing. Sometimes you can find something like one panel or a fender. If you want like a full set of fairings or seats for 86, 87, good luck. Luckily I had them. I was able to repair them pretty well. I'm not a professional bodywork. First time I've ever done any plastic bodywork like that. And then I repainted them. The highlight though, I'm the decal man, so I was able, the other side of the bike has the only fairing that was original paint and decals intact. Every other one was that matte black, no decals. I took a picture of those decals and scanned them into some photography editing software, and basically made a PNG of them, exact replica. I had to do a little masking and stuff, nothing crazy. And then I was able to make these decals. And the hard one was this foil. This is my reprinted set. This is my custom decal set. Both Kawasaki logos and the 250R and Ninja decals on this side are replicas that I made based on the decals on the other side tail fairing, which I'll show you here in a little bit. Double layer to get that full background. They are pretty much identical. I'm proud of that. That was all me. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think that's the majority of it. And I was trying to make a list, like obviously new chain, new sprockets, new pads, everything like that. Basically built this bike over 2 years in my garage. Unbuilt it and then rebuilt it basically. Only thing I didn't get into was like I said, the valves. Probably should have, could have. Oh well. And the bottom end, I didn't split the case. I just made sure that everything was intact down there. There was nothing too crazy. But it shifts gears, so we're good to go. Yeah, everything except the crank, transmission, and the valves themselves, I've replaced or rebuilt on this bike. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, I was trying to keep track of the project, like everything I bought, everything I did, keep track of the cost and everything. I lost track a long time ago, so I don't even know right now. I'll have to figure it up later, but I don't know how deep I actually am in this, but it's really way too deep if you were ever going to try to sell this. This bike is never going to be sold by me that I can foresee, because I'm so upside down in what it's worth. But that's not what it was about. It was just it was to do it. It was for my own reasons. It was for the experience and the sentimental value of this particular bike, and to just do it. To just do the job was the point. Doing the project was the point. Yeah, so all right, now a little bit about, we've talked about the differences, some of the differences, what the bike is, and about the things that I did during the project. Let's talk about my history with the bike. So this exact motorcycle was my first motorcycle. I bought it when I was 18 or 19 years old. I rode it around the block a couple of times. I crashed it once, and yeah, it broke down on me. And back then I didn't have the means to know what to do with it or how to fix it. So yeah, but I paid $700 for it the first time around. I got it off Craigslist, sight unseen. The guy said it ran. I couldn't get it to start, and I was so excited to get a bike I didn't care. I just trusted him. I took it home, It didn't run. I finally got it to run. Didn't even check the oil, didn't check the coolant. It had an overheating problem, I found out. It ended up one cylinder quit working. It was running on one cylinder. This is all in the span of a couple of weeks. I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't have the money or the experience to really do anything about it. Didn't have a license or anything. I was just trying to learn how to ride it in my neighborhood. Well, anyway, when it broke down, we took it to a buddy's house. We started stripping it down, trying to, it's got to be the carburetor, clean the carburetor. More parts came off, then went back on, that kind of situation. Chasing down theories that we cooked up, like, oh, maybe it's this and that. Just breaking more stuff along the way. It's all fun and games. It's all part of the experience. But anyway, I never got it running again. I sat on it for about a year. I sold it to a good friend of mine as a project for $200. I think it was $200. This is 2013 when I sold it. He kept it. He messed with it a little bit. It ended up at another buddy of mine's house. The original guy that I sold it to still owned it, but it ended up over there at my other friend's house because he had another shop. And there it stayed getting worked on intermittently. Worked on. We couldn't really decide what was going to happen to it, what he wanted to actually do with it. So more and more parts came off. More and more things got lost. More and more solutions got tried. He bought another engine from a later model, which to swap, you have to swap the flywheel over because the ignition coil, pickup coil system is different, but that's a different situation. This is the original engine that's in it. But yeah, so it just sat there languishing in my other friend's garage, and it never really took off. And eventually, he got tired of it being in there. So before it was going to get, junked out or moved again and more parts lost or anything like that, I was like, hey man, the guy I sold it to, my friend, I was like, hey buddy, would you sell that back to me? So yeah, I bought it back for $250, I think. Again, so it's changed hands over so many years for basically the same amount of money. But yeah, it was in really rough shape, and that's not his fault or anything. I'm not saying that. It's just it already was in rough shape. It had been so many hands on it, so many people who didn't really know about the bikes, including myself, or know what was wrong with it, or have experience working on them, trying to figure it out with no clear goal in mind. So, but at this point, I've been into bikes for years now. At this point, since then, I've learned a good bit. I've had several bikes. I work on things a lot more now, cars and bikes, technology and stuff like that. So I feel like I was and I have, adult money now. So I figured I was in a better place to try. So I got it back. Luckily, all the plastic's still there, engine's still there. I put mystery oil in it, made sure it wasn't locked up. And then I investigated and found the broken rockers, and I inspected the valve sealing and all that, pistons. Basically, I knew what to look for to make sure everything was in order on this engine. And then I slowly just started piecing it together, buying the things I needed, replacing the things I needed, going through the shop manual, researching YouTube, the forums about different bikes, learning the differences between the models, learning everything about this bike, everything about this engine that I could. And over 2 years, this was almost 2 years ago, I think. Almost 2 years ago as of right now. And eventually I got there, I got it to run. All the things I had to replace, I can't even remember everything I did. I'll have to really sit down and think about it. But the first time I got it to run, that was a year ago. So between the first time I got that engine to run to it being rideable was about a year ago now. And it sat, and I've taken a couple periods of time off from messing with it for here and there, but it all started coming together, and I knew when I ordered the tires a couple of months ago, and I finally got the forks. I put that together, I put the tires, and I rebuilt the wheel bearings and everything, put them back on the bike with new tires and new forks. I was like, money, this is happening. Like, it kind of snuck up on me how close I was getting. So I rushed, I'm not gonna lie, I rushed through the bodywork more than I should have in the paint because I was excited. Yeah, so last week or so, it's come together and it's a finalized project. And I did run into some problems. So I took it for its first test ride that night. Everything good. Obviously not running great, but it was running and riding. The next day I took it out a little bit more, got it dialed in a little better as best I could with the issues that I still have. And then yesterday I was riding it, and I got home, it was hot, didn't overheat or anything, but just crazy rattle from the engine. Could be an exhaust leak, I've been told. I tightened up the header bolts. They were able to tighten more so possibly, but it sounded like chain slap to me. So I did some research, and it's common. I took it all back apart. I opened the valve cover, clutch cover, didn't see any damage. Valve train looked straight, in order. The chain wasn't loose or off the teeth or anything. So I took out the chain tensioner, cleaned it, reset it, and after I did all that, changed the oil, it was running fine. So what exactly, it was one of those things, you know. So I did order some new springs for the tensioner, new old stock springs, in case they're getting worn out. Maybe that's the issue. So I'll replace those just for you know, ease of mind. But yeah, it's not daily driver reliable. You know, I don't really want to drive it too much because I don't want to break things on it, because it's such a pain to find these parts. And like, honestly, I'm tired of digging in it right now. But later on, you know, I don't want to hurry up and get to that first valve adjustment, because I just, you know what I mean? But I'm just going to enjoy it, take it around now and then, put it up. It's my project. You know, do some more odds and ends, fix some more things, have some more things come together as time goes on. But that's it, man. That is it. So I'm gonna crank it up, show you how easy it starts. And I'm not a YouTuber. I don't really know how to make a video. I'm just rambling about my project, mainly so I can go back and watch it later and remember what I did. Just like that. Like, it runs really strong. It rides really good. Full bike, cool little classic bike. I always tell people when they're asking about it, it looks like the 900 Ninja, you know, kind of like the 900 from the same era. So it's like a mini Tom Cruise bike. Well, that's actually the Ride Idol 1300. Yeah, so let's go for a walk. Let me show you some of the things I'm talking about. See, it's not perfect bodywork, definitely not perfect paint. I didn't use automotive paint, so the first time I put gas in it, it's already ruined there. You can see my uneven windshield, but yeah, that's my replica decals, even that one. These are the original. This is the only panel that still had the original decals, so I think I did pretty good. My G-brakes line on the rear, and G-brakes line up front. Yeah. When I went and got the tag, I went and registered it like way back when I first got it again. And the lady was like, "Wait, did you already register this bike a long time ago?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a long story." So, but now it's back in my name. It's rideable. It's finished. It's not perfect. It needs some odds and ends. It still needs some work. It always probably will, but it's insured. It's all me, man. Did it. And this little thing is like a mosquito compared to that. And I love my Sportster. Don't get me wrong. This is my main. This is my main bike right here. This is the one I ride everywhere. But yeah, that's like a freight train compared to this. And that's just an 883 Sportster. Like, it's still a small light bike, but it feels way more substantial. As fun as this is to ride, and it has its own unique characteristics, and it's really nimble and light. It's so different. They're so different. I mean, that's like compare that to like a Honda Civic and that to like a classic muscle car. Like, is either one of them really fast? No. But for different reasons, you know, they feel like they are. You know, they're fun in different ways. They feel like they're race cars in different ways. They're loud like race cars in different ways. So it's just really cool to have them both. And I just love the vintage Ninjas, and that how old and kind of unique it is. There's not many of these running around. So anyway, that's just my update on the project. Where it is now is essentially a complete running motorcycle that I ride around every now and then. And yeah, so guys, if you're interested in watching me nerd out and learn about a niche motorcycle restoration job, then thank you. Yeah, so I'll try to make more videos and hopefully get better at doing it. So anyway, thanks for watching.